In an emergency, every second counts. But what do you do when you call 911 for help and you get put on hold?
That scenario playing out with one of our own and prompting us to investigate just how quickly 911 operators in Erie County answer the call. Good evening, everyone. If you're looking for school budget voting results, the districts whose budgets have failed are now scrolling across the bottom of your screen.
But now back to 911 call times. Tonight, all new at 11, 7 Eyewitness News reporter Hannah Buehler walks us through her personal experience, gets answers from the County 911 Center, and shares what officials say is a critical message to callers.
It was December 23rd, just 2 days before Christmas. I was making a left from a parking lot onto Cayuga Road in Cheektowaga during the height of an afternoon snowstorm. I spun out and was hit. The airbags on the driver's side of my SUV went off, and I couldn't open my door, leaving me stranded in the middle of a busy snow and ice-covered road. I immediately dialed 911, but was put on hold. No one picks up. Instead, a voice recording says, "You've reached 911, please don't hang up." Still on hold, I crawled out the passenger door and went to check on the other driver, who was okay. But 911 still hadn't picked up. Cars were speeding by, and snow was rapidly falling. According to the call log for that day obtained through a Freedom of Information request, the first call I made lasted 1 minute and 49 seconds with no response. I hung up and called again, waiting another 1 minute and 6 seconds. Admittedly frustrated, I hang up again and call back, wait another 39 seconds before hanging up again. I call one more time, waiting another 1 minute 14 seconds before hanging up once more. I had been trying to get in touch with 911 now for a total of more than 4 minutes, which, if you've ever been in an accident or an emergency situation, may seem like an eternity. I then called a friend for help. At 2:26 p.m., 50 minutes after my last call, an operator from 911 calls me back.
The national standard is 30 seconds or less a call should be answered in. Your calls, all 4 of your calls were over 30 seconds, which I apologize for, but as we've discussed, it was an extremely busy hour.
Lisa Sears is the deputy director of Erie County 911. She says that snowy day in December, within 6 hours, there were 912 calls to 911 dispatchers.
We can't adequately staff for them. I would have had to have every single seat filled up here to be able to take all 912 calls in those 6 hours because they were coming so rapidly.
According to the call log for that day, there were 18 calls answered between 30 and 40 seconds during the 1 p.m. hour, which is considered poor by Erie County standards. 45 calls were considered unacceptable, meaning it took more than 40 seconds for 911 to retrieve the call. 10 of those calls belong to me.
Just be patient with us. We are getting to you as quickly as we can. And when we have incidences like the freezing rain, snow, the tornado, November storm, those call spikes do happen, and there's no way we can predict them.
Another heavy call volume day for Erie County was last July 20th when 3 tornadoes touched down in the area. During the noon hour alone, 174 calls for help came in. 87 were answered within 10 seconds, which is considered excellent. 20 calls were answered between 30 and 40 seconds, which is considered poor. 32 calls fell in the unacceptable category for that hour, answered in more than 40 seconds.
There are circumstances that are unpredicted that may make that surge happen.
Erie County 911 officials say hanging up, like I did, could be one of the worst things you do.
If you call 911 and hang up, we're going to stop and call you back when that call eventually gets to a call taker, because that call is still going to hang out there for us, and somebody's going to have to answer it before they can get to a live caller.
Sears says if I were to have waited an additional 10 seconds on the first call,
it will roll over to another agency.
Stay on the line, let me get you right over to medical. They're going to ask you a few questions.
On an average day, call takers in Erie County receive about 2,000 emergency calls. On the date of my accident, there were 2,368 calls. To Erie County 911's credit, officials say out of the 700,000 calls last year, over 98% were answered in less than 30 seconds. But that 2%, they agree, needs to be better.
And during those times, we ask people to just stay on the line. There's not a need to hang up and call back. Stay on the line. Your call will be answered.
Hannah Buehler, 7 Eyewitness News.